Ah, the dream car, the one car we've fantasized about owning since we were young and little, and we always just wanted to own that car, and our life would be complete once we were driving that vehicle. But what if I told you that wasn't the case? Buying your dream car isn't the best thing that'll ever happen to you, and there's actually a few reasons on why you should not buy your dream car. Hold on, Nick, who's standing right in front of the camera. Why would you say that? The dream car is literally the goal, the dream. Well, in today's video, I'm gonna give you 3 reasons on why buying that dream car isn't all it's turned out to be. But first, let's go back in time about 30 minutes to when I was driving here and what I was saying. But before we get into our first point, well, we obviously need a bit of fuel. So let's fuel up the M4 and see how much it's gonna hit my bank account today. Like every car guy, I've got a dream car. Well, multiple dream cars actually. And the way I like to see it is more of a goal car instead of a dream car. Because that way it makes it seem more achievable. It's a goal, you want to achieve it. Whereas a dream just seems like, one day maybe I'll be able to get it. Well, no. The goal, you're gonna keep working every day to get to it. My first ever dream car or goal car I wanted was the one we're in right now, my M4, which I just... Stay there, camera. I love this car. I love it. It was my first dream or goal car that I wanted to achieve, and I've got it. I own it, and it's an awesome feeling. The next goal I want to get is the BMW M5 in the F90 shape. I just love that car. Incredible car, and that's my next goal that I want to achieve. It's owning that car. After that, I'd love to own a GT3 or a GT3 RS in the 991 generation. Amazing car. I've driven both of those before, and I loved every millisecond of sitting in those cars. And finally, my ultimate realistic goal car is the one I was in recently in one of my YouTube videos, the Lamborghini Murcielago SV. Ever since I was a little boy, that was my dream car. And since recently being in Harrison's and obviously having a good time, as we'll get a few of those downshifts coming up to the light. Jesus Christ. The thing just wants to kill you, it sounds like. It's aggressive. You can see why I really want one and love that car. Pulling into the good old 7-Eleven, and let's get some 98 octane in this car. And of course, the pumps I need are all taken. There's only 2 98 pumps. Anyways, let's wait patiently. So the first downside to buying a dream car is the financial commitment that comes behind it. Today we're filling up with 86 instead of 98. That's not good for the engine, but anyways, if you're a venture capitalist or in the top 0.1% or a super rich business owner, then you don't really need to listen to this section of the video. But if you're like the 99% that work hard for their money and save hard to buy something like this, like I am, worked hard, saved hard, and bought this car, well, there's a lot that comes to it. Regardless of the years of saving and working and side hustles and businesses and jobs and everything that comes with it, there's also a lot of costs that come along with buying the car. Now, unless your dream car is a cheap, reliable car, it's all right. But let's say, for example, you save up and you finally buy a Lamborghini Hurricane, a $300,000-$400,000 car. For reference, if you're a young guy, your insurance is going to be anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 every year just to insure it. Plus, on top of that, don't be surprised when your annual service at Lamborghini is costing you anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 to service the car. Plus, the biggest thing is there's so much money linked into this one thing, you can't do many other things. So if you spent most of your money on buying that car and keeping it and maintaining it, well, think of the other things you're missing out on, whether that's holidays or a house. I know I'm going against myself because in other videos I said I bought this car over a house, but still you have to think about the opportunity cost. Linking this much money into this, meaning you're not that flexible on other fronts with your money. And another cost to it, of course, is this right here, fueling up the car. Exactly $100 I'm paying to fuel up the beast. That sucks, but has to be done. And on top of all that, that's no repairs or nothing like that. That's just general ownership. So keep that in mind before you sink 50, 100, $500,000 into a car. What might come with that also, and that a lot of your money is locked up in something which realistically is going to lose money when you sell it. So on a money side, it doesn't make any sense to buy your dream car unless you can buy it like 5 times over, which most of us can't. My personal rule of thumb is you want to make sure you can buy the car at least 2 times over if you're going to buy the car outright. So if a car's whatever, 50 grand, make sure you at least have $100,000 ready to go. You buy the car, anything goes wrong in your personal life or with the car, at least you can get out of it because you've got that emergency fund. But if the car's 50 grand and you've only got 55, something goes wrong, you're in a lot of strife. I really hope if you're looking to buy a Murcielago SV, which runs about $2 million here in Australia, money isn't really an issue for you, and paying for insurance isn't something you'd be worrying about. Because if you've somehow scraped together just $2 million to buy the car and you've got nothing left over, you definitely should not even be looking at Lamborghinis at all. But let's say it's something more realistic, like an M4 or like a 370Z, something like that that's affordable for someone your age and isn't something extremely unrealistic. And regardless whether it's from the Lamborghini level down to the BMW or the Nissan level, well, one thing never changes, and that's the hype you build up in your head. When you think of your dream car, you think of it to be perfect. It is complete bliss driving it. The drive is perfect, the looks are perfect. There's nothing you dislike about the car when you think about it. And this is where that second point comes in. For some people, it's true. You'll buy the car, you'll see it, it's perfect, and it'll always be perfect in your eyes. But for most people, like myself, over time, like everything, the novelty will wear off. And that dream car that you made it out to be and the only thing you'll ever want to own will end up being, oh yeah, it was cool while it lasted, what's the next step? A key example of this is my dad. When he was growing up, back in his time, on the wall, the dream car, the poster car, was the Lamborghini Countach. You can see I get it from my dad. My dream car is the Murcielago SV, his is the Countach. Clearly we like Lamborghini. Anyways, 20, 30 years go past from when he was that 10-year-old kid and he's finally got the opportunity to drive a Countach. The excitement was literally immeasurable. You couldn't put a scale on it. Same as me when I was in Harrison's SV Murcielago. I was like a kid in a candy shop. So after watching all the movies and the TV shows and seeing the Countach everywhere, he gets in the car, goes to drive it, and he said it absolutely sucked and he hated driving it. From growing up and thinking the Countach is the best car ever made and once he drives one, his life is complete, he drove it and he realized it was all hype. There was nothing really that special about the car, and he's driven other cars that were way better in every aspect. Now, to give him the benefit of the doubt, the Countach was a very rough around the edges sports car. It was awesome and iconic, but when it came to actually being a sports car, it wasn't the best. The build quality, the power delivery, and most importantly, that clutch and transmission, well, a lot of people didn't like driving it when you compare it to the Ferraris and the Porsches of the time. My case of the M4 is a little bit different. I've driven them before, I loved them. I was so excited when I found out I was actually gonna go and buy one. In my eyes at the time, it was a 10 out of 10 car. It was literally perfection on wheels. I've owned the car for going on 10 months now, and don't get me wrong, I still love the car. It's awesome, it still gets me excited, but now I'm thinking, what's next? It was cool. Now I'm used to it. That novelty factor is really wearing off. From not being able to sleep knowing I'm gonna drive it the next day, to now just commuting in it like it's any other car. And that's the sad reality of any car. If my next car was an Audi R8, for example, it would be the same thing. For the first year or 6 months, I'd be the happiest man on earth. But then I wouldn't be after a while. And that's gonna lead me into the third and final point of today's video. The final point is, no matter what you want in life, human nature is you always want bigger or better. I know this might be seen as a positive, and in my other videos I've made it seem like it is a positive, but it can also be a negative. So the positive aspect of it, you've achieved what you wanted to, now you want to achieve better and achieve greater things, whether that's buying your first G-Shock watch, and now you've gone to a Rolex, and after the Rolex you want to go to an AP. And the same case for that is also in cars. You buy the M4, you're on the next car, you're on the next car. Like I said, my ultimate dream car is the Murcielago SV. But when that day comes and I do buy a Murcielago SV, yes, I'll love it for the first year or two, and I feel like I've achieved my dreams. Well, I'll just be thinking, well, what about the next thing? So from that Murcielago SV, it might go to an Aventador SVJ, and from that it might go to I want a Koenigsegg, and from that it might be I want a Pagani. It just keeps going. Now you see that as a good thing. It motivates you to make more money, to work harder, and achieve the next best thing. It's a tightrope like many things, and there's two sides to the blade. On one side, yes, you're achieving greater things, you're achieving the next and the best, and you never thought you could, and now you can. But on the other end is, well, you don't really find happiness in things, only temporary happiness. And also, along with that, you might risk everything to achieve the next best thing and then lose it all. It's always important to push for better things in your life and to achieve greater things, but it's a slow push. If you're gonna really push it hard as you can to achieve better things, and I want the next flashiest thing, and this was cool, but I'm ready for the next, well, you could one, lose it all, and two, lose the actual reason you enjoy them. You just want them because you want the next better thing, not why you actually enjoyed the car. And if you just look at it as a numbers game, that I want to achieve the next best car, and I want the Pagani, and I want this, and I want that, you might forget that the most fun you had in a car was before you even cared about that whole upgrade factor. You just cared about the car you had in front of you, and you loved it for what it was. I know it sounds crazy for me to be saying this, the guy who's always pushing for better and greater things, but yeah, there definitely is a bad side to it if you're not careful. So before you rush out and buy your dream car, you always have to remember the grass may not always be greener on the other side, and sometimes keeping it a dream might be better than achieving it. Don't get me wrong, this video in no way was me telling you not to buy your dream car. I'm just letting you know what you might expect when that day does come. With all that said, I want to thank you for watching another Performance Nick YouTube video. I drop these every Tuesday night talking about topics about cars, driving cars, going to meets, and just anything to do that's fun with cars. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. It honestly makes my day every time I see someone following and sending messages to me. I really do appreciate it. With all that said, thank you for tuning in once again, and I'll see you next week for the next banger video we're dropping on this channel. See you later.